Hi there and welcome to another video where I will be testing one of the strategies that the frag trade developers have left for us in their GitHub repository. It is the average strategy, but let's hope that this will give better results than average returns. As I said in my last video, the coming tests to find the best algorithmic bot trading strategies will be coming from this repository. I am picking the already low-hanging fruits here, and at some point I was going to review and test these strategies anyway. So why not take these tests and do them now to attain the knowledge and experience from people that already have coded these algo strategies. Now I will try to keep these videos short and only stick to the basic explanation of these strategies. Unless they are performing exceptionally well or are coded in such a way that it is interesting to worth mentioning. And this time I will test the average strategy, which is created by Gert Wilgemuth. It is a very simple strategy that only makes use of two exponential moving averages. The author mentioned it in the comments that it's just a proof of concept and really does not perform well, but we will see about that. This strategy is originally created to be used on the 4-hour time frame. The ROI setting is set to take profit at 50% gains, no matter how much time it takes, which is indicated by the 0 in the minimal ROI config section. This simple strategy also has a stop loss setting that sells the position after it had suffered a loss of 20% after the initial buy. Another thing to mention here is that the strategy is also prepared to do the hyperparameter optimization on the buy range as well. So it will take the EMA parameters in consideration here and tries to search in the configured space to find the most profitable settings for this strategy. If you look at the indicator section, the EMA indicator is used in the strategy only. In the buy space set in the previous section, the short EMA is set to a default value of 8 and the long EMA is set to a default value of 21. You can see on the screen that on the Bitcoin chart this crossover strategy looks to follow the price band quite narrowly. The 8 EMA is also the same as the Bitcoin daily price movements, and the 21 EMA follows close, but not close enough to create all kinds of false crossover signals. The data frame columns are created with a simple for loop statement here, and that will create a data frame column for both the short and long EMA. Now, the buy and sell settings of this strategy are as simple as the rest of the code. The buy signal will be given when the short EMA will cross above the long EMA and the volume of the pair is above 0. This means that the pair is only bought at the crossover and not as long as the short EMA is above the long EMA. And this difference should be taken into consideration. If the strategy had a buy signal as long as the short EMA is above the long EMA, then it could happen that the bot sells because of the ROI reached. But when this has occurred and the short EMA is still above the long EMA, then the bot could potentially have another buy signal. But with the crossed above setting, it only buys position at that specific occurrence, and it only sells the position if one of 3 conditions are met: the ROI, sell signal or stop loss. And it will not buy a position anymore as long as there is no crossover event happening. This same principle also goes for the sell reason. The bot only sells on the crossed above event, not earlier and not later. For this sell situation in this spot trading strategy, it is not such a big deal. But when trading with futures, it will be again. In that case, some additional trading opportunities could be missed. But for now, this is enough explanation for this ultra simple strategy. Let's see how this performs with the current settings of the short EMA set to 8 and the long EMA set to 21. So after I've done the initial backtest procedure over the different time frames, I get the results you see on this screen. If you wonder why you do not see the time frames lower than 1 hour, that is because I did not get any results back from these time frames on my computer. Maybe it has something to do with the amount of memory I have or with some other issue with my PC. But I did not get any results back, unfortunately. Of the 3 time frames I did get results from, the 4-hour time frame proved to be the most profitable one. And that is exactly what this strategy was built for. However, there are other factors at play to determine if an algo strategy is good. On the 4-hour time frame, for example, there are issues which prevent me from scoring this time frame as the highest. Especially the drawdown experienced, the profit factor, and the applicability on multiple asset pairs scored lower here. And that is why the 1-day time frame still seems to be the best to trade this strategy on. However, if you yourself want to take more risk and do not mind the nail-biting drawdown this 4-hour time frame has, then you can optimize this time frame further on your system. I am not that tough though, and do not mind taking a little bit less risk in favor of a higher win rate and calmer ratio. So therefore I will optimize the 1-day time frame further to see if optimizing the ROI, stop loss and buy parameter can improve this simple algo strategy further. Oh, and by the way, my Patreon members will get all the output I generate in a separate addendum post. So if you want to check up on that and you are not a supporter yet, then here is your chance to get all the additional benefits Patreon supporters have. After optimizing this simple average strategy with the hyperparameter optimization function, I have got some adjusted settings for ROI, stop loss and EMA. The ROI settings are changed from the one simple 50% take profit point to having multiple take profit points at multiple times. The stop loss setting has been widened to let this strategy breathe more, because apparently this 20% stop loss point was still too narrow. Also, both the short and long EMA parameters have been adjusted to make this strategy less prone to unnecessary exit points. And you can see on the picture on this screen that the profit percentage was again drastically reduced in favor of a lower drawdown and higher win rate. The Sortino and Sharp ratio also lowered, but the profit factor, expectancy and calmer ratio greatly improved once more. Also, the win rate went from 34 to 50%. And to see which changes this optimization caused, we have to look at the exit reasons. The initial 1-day exit reasons show that the ROI setting is the main cause for getting profits. This means that with the initial settings, every time a trade reached 50% profit, this profit was taken. Only 50 times the exit signals proved to be winning trades, but still this exit signal has more losses than winners. And the 20% stop loss point was reached in 92 trades. The new settings, however, changed this behavior drastically. Still, the main exit reason for exit with losses are the exit signals, where the EMA short crosses below the EMA long, but this is not as many as before. Also, the wider stop loss was only reached in 7 trades. Now, due to the change in EMA settings, there were less signals to trade on, but due to the changed ROI take profit points, 50% ends up as a winner. So, less trades, but higher chance of winning trades. If you look at the strategy score, you can see that both the old and the new strategy settings end up in an end score of 215. But this is just a coincidence, because the scoring of the different ratios and factors are different, but in the end scored the same at the end. Now, which strategy setting scores will end up in the strategy league is a pure matter of personal preference. And because this scoring is the same, this strategy will end up at the same spot in the league anyways. But because my current view on things is to take the least risk as possible, because at the moment we are still in a bear market I think, I will take the optimized strategy and put these results in the strategy league. Looking at the strategy league with an end score of 215, this simple but effective strategy ends up on the second spot, and for me again a surprise. Apparently simple is best, and determining the best take profit points based on the ROI settings is key in this strategy, and maybe perhaps in every strategy. Although this is not the most profitable one, and some ratios are also a little bit worse than lower scoring strategies, with these settings it still ends up nicely in this league. Two of the main reasons for this position is the profit factor and the applicability to use this strategy on 66% of the 50 pairs configured for these tests. For example, the Godstra strategy has more profit, but only 24% of the configured pairs react to this Algo strategy. So you will take more of a gamble if you use the Godstra strategy on your pairs, whereas the average strategy has higher chances to be profitable on a random crypto pair. But this still has to be found out by rigorous testing and forward testing, of course. So again we have a strategy tested. Now let's quickly move on to the next one to see how it works and if it has the probability to be profitable or not. Goodbye!